So Kim, you recently played The Witcher 3 for numerous hours. How was it?
It's everything I wanted it to be and more. It was great. I played from the intro all the way through for the first 3 hours, so I got a good look at the game. I can confirm that the intro is way better than the second game, which got a lot of flack for the slow pacing, really lengthy tutorials, and it's so much more accessible and easy to pick up the mechanics. I know people had a lot of trouble with that in the first game.
Yeah, I would even say that in the second game as well. The combat wasn't great. You know, at E3 we got to see the storytelling.
What do you seek here?
Yennefer of Vengerberg. Where was she headed?
That is a military secret.
How does it feel? Is it better gameplay-wise than The Witcher 2?
It feels so much more fluid. Nothing has really changed with combat per se. You still have, obviously, your magic attacks. You can do your melee attacks, and you alternate pretty much between those. But you have a new crossbow this time, so enemies that fly above, you can shoot them down and then go after them.
Did you get to explore the open world at all?
What I played was kind of the prologue, but I got in the first main village, and there's this old lady that I ran into who's just that someone took her pot. I was in the tavern and this guy was like, I really want to write about war. And I was like, you can encourage him or be like, you're crazy, he's a scholar. Like, don't go on the battlefield, whatever. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna encourage him. People need to know what this is about. And then you find out like he kind of wants to write propaganda for it. And then you're like, I shouldn't have done that. But I mean, like, you never know.
I'll not drink with Weaverlaw's freaks.
So you could play as someone else in this game as well,
Yeah,
right?
Ciri is a second playable character. So the whole thing is she is a weapon of war, and the Wild Hunt is after her because they want to use her for destruction. And so Geralt is trying to get to her to help her before the Wild Hunt does. So when you switch perspective to Ciri, you find out how she's feeling about all this, okay? Like, obviously it's scary, obviously there's a lot at stake, but she's kind of badass, so she's kind of just like, I'm gonna be able to handle this, but Geralt is really worried because there's a lot at stake with it.
She's returned, Geralt. After all these years.
Are you sure it's her?
Yes. And she's in danger. Witnesses claim the Wild Hunt follows her. You must find her.
People shouldn't be worried if they haven't played the game either. I want to make that clear because we're kind of at a blank slate point in the story where, like, you track down all the kings. Geralt now has his memories back which we got at the end of Witcher 2, and you're kind of starting afresh. And like CD Projekt Red is aware that people are probably going to be starting this for the first time. They made sure that they are explaining things as you go along.
To you,
You look like trouble.
dead wrong. I make trouble go away. I'm a witcher.
What are you doing in that open world? Do they have things like listed on the map that you can do? Or is it all just kind of exploration kind of thing?
So the map will reveal like little side quests with like an exclamation point.
Oi, Witcher! I've got an offer for you.
For where I was in the world, I don't even think I got to half of what the quests were that I could. I did as many as I could along the way, but there's hidden paths that you can go on, and then those also have quests to do. Your horse is a big deal this time around.
You have that from the outset?
Yes. Also, though, your horse can get spooked. So if you go too close to enemies, there's like a fear meter, and he'll just toss you off of it, which I got in trouble with that once. I feel like they found the perfect balance. It's still not an easy game. You're still gonna get your butt kicked a few times.
Some fight for glory, justice, or gold. I fight for those I hold dear.
It's all about watching enemy patterns. I had a big boss battle with this huge griffin, and the first time I did it, I was like, I just have to find out what I need to do. Obviously, you take the crossbow, you shoot him down. But it's a puzzle, like figuring out what the best way is to bring them down.
In the Griffin Fight, you know, the name of the game, The Hunt, did you actually go on that hunt to track it down?
Yeah, I had to track it down.
What was that like?
So this griffin comes in, he's killing everybody, and I had to go find where his nest was. Before I go to kill him, I find this poor woman who's just dying from him. And I'm just like, that's it. Nobody's gonna die now. I've got this. So then you go in, and there's this big face-off. The Witcher games have some of the best boss fights because the enemies are all massive, and
Right.
it's all like, oh gosh, what am I gonna have to do in this battle?
Do you get the sense that the hunting aspect is going to be kind of part of the critical path, or is that something you could do in the open world, like stumble upon some like tracks?
No, that's definitely in the open world. Actually, a lot of the side quests that I was doing uses Geralt's Witcher sense, so you can you know, use his sense and you'll find tracks, you'll find extra things.
Is there a scale in the menus that you see you're going down the dark path or light, kind of Mass Effect-y, or is it just kind of organic in the world?
It's a lot of shades of gray usually. Like that first choice was about as black and white as The Witcher would ever get. And throughout it, it's more about you role-playing as Geralt and what's going to happen. And then there is that choice where you're going to kill this monster, and he's like, don't kill me, there's an orphanage, and I can help those kids. But you're like, is this monster lying to me? Like, why would he all of a sudden say this? And then at the end, you kill him, and at the end, the orphanage was gone. So it kind of made you feel like, oh crap, I should have listened to him.
Every decision you make will bring devastation. Each choice will lead to a greater evil.
So I mean, that's what's really cool about The Witcher is like, you never know if people are telling you the truth, and half the time they are trying to screw you over. So it's always like these head games, these guessing games, and I kind of like that. I like when I don't know how things are going to turn out and when the choice is not super obvious.